Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Devaki Nandanaya Cha. Nandagopa Kumaraya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, text number 10. Pusha Paramatma Andam Vinirvidya Yasau Sa Viniragataha Atmano Ayanam Anvichanna Apo Asrakash Charashishuchiha. Purusho Andavinirabhidya Yada Sausa Vinirgataha Atmanoyan Anvichan Apo Strakshihi Shuchihi. Purusho Andam Vinirabhidya Yada Sausa Vinirgataha Atmanoyam Anvichannom Apostrakshi Shuchihi. Purusho Andavinirabhidya Yada Sausa Vinirgataha Atmanoyam Anvichan Apostrakshi Shuchihi. Purushaha, the Supreme Person, Paramatma. Andam, the universes. Vinirvidya, making them each separately situated. Yada, when. Also, the same. Saha, he, the Lord. Vinirgataha, came out. Atmanaha, of himself. Ayanam, lying in a place. Avichan, desire. Avaha, water. Asrakshit, created. Shuchihi, the most pure. Shuchihi, transcendental. Translation and purport by Serving Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. After separating the different universals, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, which is known as Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha avatar, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, that is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. After analysis of living entities and the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, the independent source of all other living beings, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord, which is the only occupational business of all living entities. Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and all his plenary portions and extensions of plenary portions are non-different from one another. And thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Shukadeva Goswami, as promised to King Parikshit, describes herein the independence of the Purusha avatar, personality of a Godhead. Even in the sphere of the material creation, such activities of the Lord are also transcendental, and therefore they are also Leela, or pastimes of the Absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord are very conducive to the hearers for self-realization in the field of devotional service. Some may argue, why not they relish the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which are sweeter than anything in the world? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such a supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in material sphere related to creation, maintenance and destructions are verily relishable by the Prakruta or mundane devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such a supreme transcendental activity of the Lord, and therefore Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to creation, maintenance and destruction are verily relishable by the Prakruta or mundane devotees of the Lord. As the yoga system, mainly based on the bodily exercise, is meant for the person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of existence, similarly, the Lord's pastimes related to the creation and destruction of the material world are for those who are too materially attached. For such a mundane creatures, the functions of the body and the functions of the cosmic world through physical laws in relationship with the Lord are also therefore included in understanding of the lawmaker, the Supreme Personality of a God. The scientists explain the material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such a blind scientist forgets the lawmaker. The Srimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not be amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such a wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord, who directs the physical laws. In the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 10th verse, the direction of the Lord upon material nature is described as follows. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate characharam hetunayena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. The material nature, full of the physical laws, is one of my different energies. Therefore, it is neither independent nor blind. Because I am transcendentally all-powerful, simply by my glancing over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account. And thus the material world is created, maintained and annihilated again and again. Fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by the studying the physical laws both within construction of an individual body and within the cosmic manifestation. And foolishly, they decry the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent. Without any metaphysical control, the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 11th text replies to this foolishness in the following verse. Avajananti mam mudam manushim tanumashita paramam bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. The foolish men, Muda, do not know the personality of a Godhead in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of a transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of the people in general when he descends himself by his own personal potency. Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful parts as the Lord himself. And Bhagavad Gita concerns such a wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet, foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Generally, they consider the infinitesimal and infinite features of the Lord because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal and or the infinite. But one should know that infinite and infinitesimal size of the Lord are not his highest glories. The most wonderful manifestation of the Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet, his activities are different from those of the finite beings. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy. But the Mudas, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as a legendary and take the Lord as one of them. They cannot understand that the Lord Sri Krishna, although in the form of a human being, by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as the Supreme Controller. When However, the Mudas give submissive and oral reception to the message of the Lord, as in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, through the channels of disciplic succession. Such Mudas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of His pure devotees. And for this reason only, either in Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Narati Swaprantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Na Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaragunatanvitam Nam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhuram Varjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Krishna Balan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namaam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyareshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauravaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Purusho Andam Vinirvidya. Vinirvidya means making them each separately situated. The Purusha. Fan on so here, how the creation has started. The whole thing is more technical actually, which is explained here. And Prabhupada in the purport, he explained that why this technicality is given here. Because people may ask that, okay, just by hearing the wonderful past of the Lord, if you get liberated, then why do we just discuss the pastime what Lord has performed in the Vrindavan? Such an explanation about this material cosmic manifestation. Because ultimately what is going to save us, if that's the wonderful pastimes that Lord has performed in Vrindavan, then why uselessly we should waste our time in discussing all this creation part. But Prabhupada very clearly mentions here that this pastimes in Vrindavan, what Lord has done, that can be understood by very advanced devotees. And Sripad Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the really a great acharya, who is considered as a person who is in the Madhurya Rasa. If you read his commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then you will realize the depth of his mood in which he served Sri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. He says, the neophyte devotees, they may, not may, he says clearly, they misunderstand such a supreme transcendental activities of the Lord. And then Prabhupada gives example, like at the age of 7, he lifted a Govardhan. And the prime youth, he got married with a 16,000 and 108 beautiful women. People, they think that it's a legendary work that he has done. Down to their own platform, which is like the same, maybe the one person in this world. Like the Nawab of Hyderabad had some 356 wives, just 60, 70 years back. So they think Krishna is like also like one of them, has got just 16,100 wives. But they forget the activities that Lord has performed when he came and took a form as like a human being. But still his form was not exactly like a human being. It was totally transcendental. Because at the age of 125 also, he was looking like a just in the prime youth. So it was totally different. The people, they think that, oh, how to understand that? That's maybe just exaggerated. Who has seen Krishna right now? So whatever people they are saying, maybe like that. Maybe they're considered. Who has seen him as a so young and but unless and until you understand the supremacy of the law that has explained in this creation part of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because these technical things are given here so that people, as explained in a 9th chapter, that fools, avajananti mamudham manushim manashrita. Fools, they derive me when I take a human like a form. Why? Because they don't understand that under his direction everything is running. Before explaining this, he explains that Vayabhakshena prakati suyatena characharam ritunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartante. Everything in this material world is under the direction of the Supreme Personality. So people may think, here we can see, you people only say that his Vrindavan activities are going on eternally, and if they are finished in this universe, they may be continuing with some other universe, and it's going on. Then how he can create this world? Here he is eating with the boys, here he is dancing with the peacocks, here he is grazing the cows, and now you are saying that simultaneously he is creating universe also. How to understand that? And that's why in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Shukadeva Goswami ji is explaining Parikshit Maharaj that in the beginning, at the neophyte stage, one should understand the Lord's manifestation in this material world for the creation, which is really gigantic. If you don't understand that, it's not possible for you to understand the Lord's supreme energy. And Mahaprabhu, that's why says that Siddhanta Valiya Manu Chittena Kore Alas. When there is a discussion about the philosophy, principle, if you don't understand the principle, you will not be able to apply that particular law which is there. And nowadays, people, they are more into gross way of understanding the things. So for everything they need evidence, for everything they need an experiment, for everything they need a conclusion, which is based on this material perception. And that perception you get it through your senses. And if you try to understand everything through our senses, it's not possible. Because every living entity who has born in this material world and having this material body has a four defects. His senses are imperfect. And every time, sometimes our own devotees also get bored. Why every time we have to repeat that we are imperfect, that we are having this problem? Because we keep forgetting that our senses are not perfect. We think what I heard, that's the fact. What I seen, that's the truth. But it never happens. You can't judge things by externally seeing them or hearing them from the people. Because what you may see, that may not be a fact. And what you hear, that may not be the truth. So what do you need? Authority. Whether that authority must have experienced that knowledge, that authority must be has applied that thing in their own life. And that's where the particular word that has used for Shukadeva Goswami, why he has accepted as a guru or a teacher for this great science, because he has a practical, experimental knowledge about Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why he was able to give this knowledge in the way that the audience can relish. And when audience can relish that, when they understand that. That means the first criteria of understanding the knowledge is fulfilled by Shukadeva Goswami, because he has that realized knowledge. And such a great person, he starts with the Lord's wonderful narrations about Lord's wonderful pastime by explaining the creation part. Let understand at the neophyte stage first how this material world has created. What you can see, what you can perceive through your blood senses. And then he, step by step, explains about how from the Mahat Tattva, or how the from Mahavishnu, the Mahat Tattva comes. An amalgamation of that Mahat Tattva comes into the universe form. And when that universes, they come out of his body, then he himself expands and enters in that each universe. That's what has explained in this particular verse. That Mahavishnu, the gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance of the first Purusha Avatara, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie down on a created transcendental water, which is known as a Garbhodaka Saga. And from there, the first stage of creation starts. In the next word, it is explained that Tasava avasthite swasrishtau sahasram pravishastran tena narayano nama yad apaha purushod avaha. Now, why it's called as a Narayana, that has explained in this verse. The Supreme Person is not impersonal, and therefore is distinctively a Nara, a person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the Supreme Nara is known as a Nara. And because he lies down on that water, he is known as Narayana. Here comes the point which differentiate our self and Sri Sampradaya. Sri Sampradaya, for them, Narayana is the ultimate thing. Why? Because that's the fact. If you see, on the causal ocean, the first created expansion of the Lord is Mahavishnu. And who is lying on that Nara, that water, and that's why he is known as the Narayana. They go up to the Narayana, but beyond Narayana is Krishna. In the next verse, it is said, Dravyam karma cha kalascha svabhavo jiva evacha yad anugrahatah santi na santi yad upekshaya. One should definitely know that all material ingredients, activities, time and modes, and the living entities who are meant to enjoy them all exist by His mercy only. And as soon as He does not care for them, everything becomes non-existent. People, they think, oh, I don't care about God. But if you read this one, if He don't care, then nothing can exist. If you don't care, everything can exist, no problem. But if He will not care about you, then nobody will care about you. Nothing will exist in this world. I was wondering why every time these non-devotees are called as fools, rascals, because they are. If next time somebody comes and tells that I don't care about Lord, just ask him, does your wife cares about your opinion? Who cares about your opinion? You may think, and who are you? An insignificant living entity who does not have control on his own body. He can't control his natural thoughts. What to speak of controlling the other parts? To make understand that fool, that how Lord creates this material cosmic manifestation, this all details are given. Devotee, when they read or hear about this, they feel that how wonderfully Lord has created everything, and how we can perceive the Lord's existence in each and every part of this universe. If you read the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will realize that Lord has explained 82 different manifestations of Him in this material world, where the people, they wanted to say, hey, show me your Lord. The Lord says, okay, for such a rascal you can tell them that I am there, Prabhasve Shashi Surya. I am there in the illumination that you get it from sun and moon. Who gives them that? You can create the model or duplicate model of the solar planet, but you can't illuminate that, can you? By your own potency do it without using electricity? Pure rascal, they claim themselves as a god. We should ask them that, okay, take this model of planetary system and let it run without electricity or without using other force. We are so helpless in this material world. As yesterday only in previous purport we have discussed. You may have eyes, there may be a light, but if you don't have that demigod pleased on you, who is controlling your eyesight, you can't see anything. Can you? People, they go totally blind even though they have eyes. There is a sunlight, but they go blind. Why? Because the person who is controlling that eyesight is not happy with you. I was wondering, sometimes it comes into the mind that we have so many examples that somebody goes to some person and he heals him out. How he does that? Like Jesus, he cured someone from the blindness. That person was born blind. And Jesus did something and he started seeing. So what he did that time? Can you explain in any metaphysical science that how it has done? No. Because these are the things you can't understand by your mundane senses, or neither with a mundane intelligence also. And it is not mythology, because you are seeing it. People have seen that this person was born blind and he has given him eyes. So how he did that? There are so many magicians, they can't do that. If someone say that is his magic, magic lasts. Magic is nothing but hallucination, or they can just illusion they can create. That's what magic can do. Magic will not have a permanent effect. Otherwise, magician does not have to charge for any show. We can see that they can show the shower of notes, $100, $10 bills. They will just fall from the sky. Then why don't they just use it for them? Why they have to ask donations or ask tickets for their shows? Because this is illusion. And we get mesmerized by seeing the illusion. And because of that mesmerization, we really forget the real essence. When we see the reality, we also consider it as an illusion. Like some magician, if he just takes the one seed and creates two fruits in the hand, we get, oh, what a wonderfully how he has done. But look at the creation. You are not going to sow some seeds. You will find in the wilderness, you will find so many trees and creepers. They are just coming up. Who is planting them? Is there somebody goes on the equator and puts the seeds of different plants and maintains them? No. Then who is doing this? People are crying out, oh, we have a drought, we are not able to supply them water. Why? You are so much modernized and you have modern scientists. Create some factory where you can create the rain and shower them. Can you do that? No. Because there are things which are beyond our capacities. And that can be done only by the Lord. And by the Lord's pure devotees. In 70, there was a drought in Andhra Pradesh, in India. Literally, people were dying. And it happened to be Prabhupada was there. Few brothers, they came and because they were performing some Bhajan Yajna and etc. So they asked, Swamiji, you have come, so please let us know what can be done. Prabhupada said, for this age of Kali, if you want to please the Lord, just have a kirtan. Do Nagar Sankirtan all the way, all around, and you will see. The people who followed, they got rain. Who didn't, they never got. Surprise, in 2007 I was in a girl, there were no rain. They never had a season like a rainy season. Maybe one, that's what, for a 5 to 10 minutes there will be a drizzle. But no rain actually there. That 2008 we saw, it rained so much. Everywhere there is a water. Because they never had a drain system. They never had a conception of such a overflow of water on roads. So they never had. They had a nice roads, but they don't have a drains along the roads to drain out the water. So there is no water. In 2008, it rained so much continuously for a month. Everywhere there is water. You can't go out of course. It's like that flooded. They were totally amazed. But how that rain came there? Why so? Actually, a lot of activities were happening that time for that. So many spiritual institutes from India, they were going in, they have started their own programs, and people become more God-minded. A lot of yajnas were happening there. It was not happened previously. And from that year actually, for last 7-8 years now, that rainy season has started here. At least a month, they are getting a proper rain, which never happened. So, as Lord has explained in Bhagavad Gita, that the relation between the demigods who provides everything and the human being is established by performing yagyas. If you perform this yagya system, then definitely there will be a rain. Once His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, he went to some European country. There he gave a lecture. And he said, if you pray to the Lordship, He fulfills everyone's desire. Then few devotees in the congregation, they asked Maharaj, for years together we are not having a rain in this area. How we are surviving and struggling that rain? What we can do for that? We are praying the Lordship, but Lord is not hearing about it. Then he asked, what intensity you have for that? We will have a kirtan today. And he just sat and he started kirtan. It went for the 3 hours and such a profuse rain came, my goodness. Everything got inundated there with the water. Next day morning, Maharaj left that place. He said, if I stay here, people will, again they will approach me for so many things. That's the quality of pure devotee. He never wants glorification for what he has done. Because he thinks that Lord has responded for my prayer. It is my Lord's mercy that He has taken care of my prayers. So, these subtle energies which they work in this material world can't be controlled by us, but we get controlled by that. As yesterday's verse, we have seen that how the material elements, living entity, both are controlled by the Devika, means demigods in this material world. And ultimately, all they are getting controlled by the Supreme Person. And who is that person? About that has explained in these 3 verses. That is no one but Sriman Narayana. The living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, etc. because they want to do over the material nature. The Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in His enjoyment, thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in enjoyment, but deluded by the illusory energy, the living entities want to become enjoyers like the Lord. Although they are not meant for such an enjoyment, the jivas, the living entities, are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as the Lord's superior nature or para prakriti, and so also it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. Therefore, the living entities are never the Purushas or factual enjoyers. As such, the spirit of enjoyment by the living entity in the material world is false. In the spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature and therefore are associated in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. In the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of the living entities by dint of their own actions, which is known as karma, gradually fades by the laws of nature. And thus illusory energy dictate in the ears of the conditioned soul that they should become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of illusory energy. This common sentence you will find most of the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada says, getting one with the Lord is the last snare of the illusory energy. When the last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entity again becomes reinstated in his original position and thus becomes actually liberated. That's why in the verse, I think 5 or 4, it is explained that Swarupena Vyavastitaha. What's that? Mukti hitva anyatha rupam Swarupena Vyavastitaha. What is meant by liberation? Getting situated in original position or constitutional position, which Prabhupada says here that the living entity again becomes reinstated in his original position and thus becomes the actual liberated. And what is his original position? Shivera Swarup hai, Krishnera Nityadas. For this attainment for liberation from the material clutches, the Lord creates the material world, maintains it for some time, like 1000 years of his measurement, as stated in the previous verse, and then again annihilates it by his will. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of Lord, and all their so-called enjoyment by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord desires. Here it is explained. Who cares about God? The person who has faith in him. And who does not care, who cares about his opinions? Because anyhow, when Lord, everything goes into his body. So with your so-called scientific improvement, you can't avoid the destruction of this material world. It's going to happen whenever Lord desires. Hare Krishna. Any question, any comment, Panditji? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.